2016 nominees list was released last week sometime, and as usual, when the list is released, there are a lot of reactions, good, bad, sometimes ugly. My name is Gbemiola Terolagbegi. I'm here in the studio with Dari Atalade.
Yo.
Also here in the studio with the legendary, cool DJ Jimmy Jax, who is, of course, very knowledgeable about Nigerian music, but he's also the head of the Headies committee. That's so funny, head of the Headies committee.
Yes.
So,
Screening committee.
head of the Headies screening committee. All
Your
right,
head
so let's
did
break
there.
this down.
I'll take you round the world, my baby, oh, baby,
Pretty much what we do is try and go through all the entries most times because there's a period where you call for entries and you expect pretty much everyone that has worked within that calendar year. And I think it's very important that people note that there's a calendar year every year that you work with. So anything that doesn't fall within that category, I mean within that space, is not,
Even
is not
a day before,
a day before, a day after, it is not valid, you know. So there's a process where, I mean, there's a period where you call for entries, and we don't limit it to entries, you know, but as much as possible. What submitting an entry does for you is that it reminds people, just in case we're overlooking your work. Don't forget that even in getting to that space, we send, you know, forms to a lot of key industry players, you know, to suggest nominees in every category.
Why is it that each time this list is released, there's controversy?
People don't read. For starters, I think a lot of people don't read. Secondly, it's easy for you to know that, okay, within the last day I've been enjoying this song, and then I can't find this song in that category, in a category I think it should have been. I think the first thing you should always do, like they say, Google is your friend. Check the year of release or the date of release, release date before you even start to talk about it. Check the date, release date. You know, sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying for the sake of the Headies, even for sales purposes and promotional purposes, time your releases. You know, yes, you know, don't just wake up in the morning and feel like, man, this is my song, you don't take for mine, I put them out. You know, you understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, timing is key. There's a period that we work with, and if it doesn't fall within that period, sadly. And then some of the songs, sadly too, they come towards the end of the year in review. So they're yet to really pick up as at that time. And by the next year they pick up, but they're not valid for the next year. So some of these issues come up, and you know, you have to always find a way to go around it. It's a tough job, without a doubt.
And I want to thank my producer, my Garcia, did sounds of God. Oh, shit. Hello.
We come to Best Pop, was it single, and has 8 nominees.
Yes.
Okay, what happened?
Okay, let me quickly explain that. First of all, for every category, you must have minimum 4 nominations. Okay. 4 nominees. You know, sometimes you find it hard in some categories to find 4 works. Okay. You know, most times it comes up in categories like rap album, reggae, because a lot of times the rap artists, most of them, a rap album, you listen to the album and realize half of it is pop. You know, so it doesn't really fare well as a rap album. And then you know, and then there are very few artists most times that they tend to release rap albums in some years. So it's tough to get maybe the minimum number, which is 4. You know, but you probably just find the 4th best thing. Maybe not necessarily award, you know, nominee worthy, but 4th one to make that category. Maximum should be 6, ideally. But in a situation where all our music in terms of genre right now tend to be more pop, you know, and we always have, you have loads. This year I think we had well over 50 songs to consider. And to get down to that number. Okay. And you get down to that number and you realize that if you're going to keep it at the maximum number, it will be unfair on the weight of certain songs. So you're looking at the 7th person or 7th song that would have made that nomination. You're looking at the 8th song and like even the 10th one, and you're like, these were all great songs, and they did well in the year in review. How do you now, you know, just cut it down to? So this was a strong case we had to make this year and say, look, let's expand that category at least for this year, because the year musically was vibrant, very vibrant. You know, so you know, occasionally, I mean, you need to make, you know, some amends sometimes.
next rated category. It states here basically, this category is a voting category for the most promising upcoming act in the year under review.
Yeah.
Now, another thing also that we know is that for the next rated category, you shouldn't have an album.
Yes.
All right. Now, there's some cases whereby an artist has had a very good year. Maybe within that year in review, they had 3-4 strong singles, but they don't have an album.
Yes.
They are eligible to be under the next rated category.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens, even if that artist is very popular, has plenty of endorsements, people know him or her all over, Nigeria or Africa or wherever, the fact remains that that person is still in the next rated category.
Yeah, definitely.
As long as they don't have an album.
Yes.
Okay.
If you go back and check who were the past winners, and we go back as the first one, far back as the first one, Asha won the first one. She was really massive at the time she got it. One Day Cole won. He was very big at the time, but he had no album. Wiz was massive when he won it.
And the winner is Whiskey! God bless my fans. Y'all keep voting. Y'all keep supporting the brand Whiskey. I never let you guys down, I promise. God bless you.
Davido had already released Madame Iduro. It was bigger than whatever.
And the award goes to Davido.
But these are past winners. So if you go by that, you know what the award stands for. It's, okay, this is guy that's buzzing right now. This is the next big thing. This guy, you need to be on the lookout. Maybe when his album drops, it might just, and most cases it has always been the case. It's a voting category. And when people, feel like, oh, I'm definitely going to win, and or maybe like some years people disrespect it by not recognizing the fact, and they don't canvass for votes from their fans, then they lose out on that. Last line, because people always make such big deal of that. If we had kept this category as what it's just meant to be, a lot of people wouldn't even want to be nominated there. Because it simply says, best upcoming, something. But because we felt like, at the time the idea of, putting a card to a category came up, it was actually meant to be for the biggest award of the night, which would have been Artist of the Year. And we felt like, look, let's give it to the guy that it will make sense to. So it's the guy that's trying to come up that needs the car.
This is the key to your brand new car that you won as the winner of Next Rated 2013.
This car, it feels like, is this a plane or a car?
What questions do you have as an artist for this?
As an artist, I think, not just seeing what people have said or hearing about this and that. As an artist, you definitely want to be recognized for your hard work, So you should take care of your own. Before it gets to, as you've already said, you have, a year under review. You have to play by the rules, Release your stuff, within the year. If it's unfortunate it doesn't, you now have to make sure you promote the song long enough. If you do whatever you can to extend the life of the song, and it can even be nominated the next year. It depends on how much, also how good the song is. So as an artist, I know I've had to work hard on the music, promote using music videos, marketing, pushing it here and there, performing, and all that. But of course, after you've done all that, and you feel like, well, I give this song or I give these songs my best, and you don't get nominations, you start to wonder. You're first, and as artists, we're very emotional. Yeah, we're all up in our feelings, catching, and it's natural, But you've already said some key things, like look at the rule book, what the year in review is. Okay, and did my song come out then? Check. Okay, fine, it came out. And you just follow that, and then you can find out whether you are being marginalized or you are being left out. You may have been left out because your song didn't even make the charts. For in your own mind, you had a big song. When you go to places, people sing along and all that, but technically, how much of a following does your song actually have? You have to remember that in comparison to other people, it's not just you. You're not the only one.
Has there been any legwork prior to you and your name being nominated? Have there been anything you've had to do
Anything else
other than putting your music
make
out?
people you know, tweet, please vote for me, you know.
No, even before voting,
Before
I
that.
mean, nomination.
In nomination, no. We just,
You
if
stay at
at
home,
all,
they announce nominee.
yeah,
and then-
sometimes you just get nominated because of the share advantage. Let's say, you know. that
What
the song
advantage?
has- what's the English now? Not advantage.
So simply put,
help me.
What? The merit of your song?
The merits.
yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So it's not like you've had to push buttons or get in touch with someone or
No,
brown
no,
envelope is
no,
changing it.
no.
That's very key, you know, because a lot of times people say these things and say, you know, they don't settle them. Then, or the other one, which sometimes comes up and it's been there like maybe 3-4 times I've heard that, you know, is that the award is tribalistic.
I have to ask, people have mentioned, it's come up a couple of times that the awards might be a bit, you said tribalistic.
Yeah.
So if the awards are tribalistic,
We should
shouldn't
go with quota
everybody
system.
on-
Let's go
No,
with
should
quota system
everybody
now.
on this list be from one place?
No, but everybody is from one place.
Fino
The ones
too,
that Fino is a friend of Olamide. who's
Okay,
from the
so
West.
by-
Therefore,
yeah.
he's
How about
Yoruba
Flavour?
by
How about-
default.
Yes.
How about Flavor?
Flavor too, you know he did a song with me, so it's a friend of the Yoruba
How
man.
about
So
Humble
Iyanya
Smith?
too.
Almost Me too did something with Davido, so you know, they
So
have.
some of those things don't.
I
they
mean,
don't
it doesn't.
actually-
When you hear these things, you just look and say, "Isn't this dumb and silly?"
And it
Do
shouldn't
you
even
understand what I'm
even come up because music is universal.
Yeah.
You know, even in
You know.
Nigeria, you have people that make music
Exactly.
regardless of where they come
Yeah.
from. You know, even I've collaborated with Flavor and
Yeah.
I'm singing in Igbo.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all
I think we
inclusive.
should-
There's
I'm looking
no.
at a particular category where you have Patty Rankin, Praise, Jesse Jack, Cynthia Morgan, Ketchup, and
That's the reggae category.
yeah. So where are they all from? The same place? Like, I'm
we're
just
gonna have
making a point
We're,
here. You
we're going to have to
understand?
make the call.
There's a particular category
Yeah.
that was introduced, I think, a year or two ago. It's called Best Conscious.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't see it here.
It's actually there, but the nominees and
There are no
There are no
nominees.
nominees.
This particular year.
Yeah.
Why?
Let me tell you what we do with that, because we keep saying we need to encourage people to have, you know, positive messages and content, you know, in their music, you know, and then a lot of times people that make such songs do not really get commercial or mainstream success. Like the average pop song. You understand? And how do you make sure you encourage that without letting these people switch lane and say, man, if they don't want to listen to positive message, make I move to the other side now. You know? So we created that to accommodate songs that are, you know, that are uplifting, that are positive message, that, you know, inspire.
So
You
how about
understand
an
what I'm saying?
artist that feels shortchanged or left out?
No.
and not
I
being-
will still get to that.
Okay.
So when you do that, but it is not, because in most cases some of these songs are not exactly up there, you know. So, but the message is very positive, and you want to let this artist, you know, understand that people appreciate his message.
Yeah.
So most times we don't get enough of that. If you don't get enough. If you don't get minimum 4 in any category, there's no need for nomination. I mean, for you to have nominees. But based on the fact that every year we will always find out 1 or 2 songs, we then choose one of that and say, let's recognize it. So that would not then be announced until the day of the award. That's why it's always shocking. I'm sure someone like Joel last year, for instance, went to the award ceremony without, you know, anything in mind. And because it wasn't announced,
as a
it
nominee.
was just right, you know, just
Fair,
before the
fair.
award that we concluded and said, okay, based on the weight of the message of this song, I think this person should be, you know, and it went home a very happy person. You
There
know?
have been a couple of artists who have had, you know, a great year within the year in review
Yes.
and have not been nominated in any particular category.
Yeah.
So, for instance, in this case, I'm going to have to mention Ricardo Banks, for
Yeah.
instance, has had a good year.
Yeah.
Why did he not get nominated this year?
Ricardo, most of his songs falls under the pop category.
Okay.
And if you go to that pop category where we have 8
That's
nominees,
the toughest category.
what you need to do, and I always tell people, not just as an artist, as a fan of any artist, if you feel like this song should have been nominated, identify the category. First of all, check if it falls within the year in review.
If it does,
If it falls, then identify the category that you think it should have been nominated. Then check the songs in those categories and be fair and say, okay, side by side this song, should this song have been
But again,
side by side this song, should this have been in? And then
again, when you say be fair, it also raises the issue of how do you actually judge, or how do you know that a song is it by how do you measure the popularity?
Like I said,
so we're checking the charts.
There are some categories that are based on numbers, popularity.
Yeah.
There are some that are very technical.
Yeah.
You know, the popularity one, I mean, and you have to respect the fact that someone like me, I'm a DJ.
Yeah.
And I have loads of, and even with my own judgment, it's
Combined.
Only, I surround myself with a lot of
Yeah.
music people, DJs, OAPs, people that work with music on a daily. You know, so I seek, you know.
So those are the parameters you even use, not just yourself, in terms of the committee.
Your song could be the biggest song in Lagos.
And it's
National
not,
award.
yeah.
Nobody is playing it elsewhere.
Yeah.
So you think, okay, I'm here. You know, this song should have been. And this is a song
Local
that can
champion.
be played in Enugu, for instance. You understand what I'm saying? So your song needs to at least, as much as
Mass
possible,
appeal.
have that mass appeal and cut across.
It was also brought up that techno was nominated in just the next rated category.
Yeah.
Now, for somebody who is nominated in such a category, you know, why were his big singles everybody's talking about not?
Yeah, I would particularly now address, because I didn't want to personalize it, but this needs to be addressed. First of all, techno, you know, had a big year.
Yes.
No doubt. Now you look at it and say, you know, what were the biggest song? Biggest song, techno, that, you know, pops up there. And they were all big songs, but obviously some will be bigger than the other. Like a Duro song, for instance, which would have been nominated, was released at the tail end of the previous year in review. So as at that time, it
hadn't picked up.
By the time it picked, it did not fall within the year in review. So it's sad that this came at the tail end of that. It falls just slightly before July of last year.
Okay.
And then Pana, which is the biggest song right now as far as...
So will it be surprising if that song is now nominated in next year's awards?
No. A Duro could not have been nominated because it was before.
Okay.
But a Pana would now be nominated.
Most likely next,
Because it falls in the next calendar year.
Yeah.
Where was it released?
It was released after July. I mean, after June.
Of 2016.
Of
Okay,
2016.
So again, it did not.
Yeah.
So
then the songs that came up that were worthy of nominations were, you know, Where and Wash, for instance.
And they were not.
And in the pop category, all these other songs kind of knocked it off.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean that's understandable.
Okay.
But at the end of the day as well, it's clear that nobody's perfect.
Yes.
You know, the system could be flawed in the sense that is put together by humans.
Yes.
At the same time, you know, you are collating, you know, input from everywhere to try and come to as fair as possible.
Yeah.
Some people, of course, may feel, you know, they may feel bad.
But another thing we need to spell out is that as Nigerians, we need to respect and appreciate ourselves.
Yes.
See, a lot of times, the awards that are organized by
Other,
or outside.
Sometimes they get it wrong too.
Not sometimes they get it wrong.
Even
They get it wrong. No.
ago,
Excuse me. It's not like sometimes they don't even understand the music space as much, our own music space, as much as we understand it. You understand what I'm saying? So I go through nominations and I'm like, why is this person being nominated as someone that, you know, probably does more Afrobeat style music, and he's been nominated as a hip hop artist. And you know, just because he wears face cap and he dresses every time, so that defines the genre of music. That, you know, everybody's aiming for the Grammys, aiming for some other things out, and you build it. You could build this to that level.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You know, I always believe that music is very technical. People like us will check some of the deeper things rather than popularity. You understand what I'm saying? It's not a pageant. Do you understand what I'm saying? So really, I mean, there are technicalities that goes into making music. And there are loads of people making great music that don't even get into the mainstream, you know, area of things, you know, and that's sad, you know. But, you know, I mean, for now, you know, the trend says you must carry people along.
I go name my first daughter Sinachi, my loving mother Sinachuku, promotion letter Sinachi, Iyawo mi Sinachi. Now we shutting down Malaysia.
Most times, the areas that have controversies are usually the voting categories. You understand? Because the guy in Agege thinks there's this guy that is big on the street there. He should have won. The guy in VI thinks, this guy. You understand what I'm saying? You know,
Instead of
yeah,
making
because,
tweeting or posting
you know,
and
yeah, exactly.
complaining,
You know,
you
that time that the
use it to
same
actually-
data that you use in complaining could have been used in voting.
I think we have, to the best of my knowledge, answered most of the questions or clarified certain things that have come up regarding this year's nominees. So vote for your favorite artists. Artists, make sure you get your fans to vote. All right, don't don't do the mannequin challenge when the results come out and you're like, you know. Let's just. With that, we bring this to a close. Thank you for joining us in the studio today. If for any reason you don't understand what it is that we have spoken about, these details are clearly written on the Headies website, and you can check it out www.theheadies.com. Each category is broken down, and you can basically analyze as much as you want because all the rules are
The power's in your hands.
the
Vote.
powers in your hands.
Vote.
Feel free to tweet at the Headies Twitter handle, which is _Headies. That is at _Headies. This Wednesday, that is November 16th, at 2 p.m. and use the hashtag AskTheHeadies2016. Again, the hashtag is AskTheHeadies2016. This Wednesday, November 16th, 2 p.m. on Twitter, of course. Whatever questions you have, even after all this, feel free to ask your questions, and somebody would answer, definitely.